Game creator during the day and streamer at night. This is RichHomieQuinn, and this is his story of how he became one of Fortnite's most influential creators. Welcome to another episode of the Bloxy Podcast, guys, where today we have RichHomieQuinn. And Quinn, for the viewers, can you give me a quick rundown of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I'm a professional Fortnite player. I've been in the Fortnite scene since Fortnite was started, so all the way back to 2019. And I've created a bunch of content on all different platforms. And yeah, there's honestly a lot of stuff. I've sort of been transitioning a little bit more into doing UEFN, which has been a fun experience for myself. But overall, I'm mainly play Fortnite. Barely see me do any other games at the moment.
So streamer by day and Fortnite guy by night, basically.
Exactly. Even though they do be overlapping. Honestly, I would say map developer by day and then streamer by night. I think that's the best way to describe me right now, because before I get into my content creation and streaming, it's always I'm creating some fun UEFN maps, which is been a pleasure.
Dude, that's great. That's good to know. So like, what even made you want to even start UEFN in the first place, and how has that journey been for you? Yeah,
so when it comes to UEFN and specifically, I've always have been sort of a wanting to, I enjoy making money. So it's honestly one of the first reasons why I saw all these people making a crazy amount of money from UEFN right when it got announced inside Fortnite. And I'm like, hey, I could probably do that too. But I combined it with another one of my passions, which was helping other players get better. So the UEFN maps that I do create are, they're fun maps, but they're the fundamental around them is to actually help the player to improve. So just creating practice maps and also being able to loop it in with my community. Since I'm a pro player, I'm able to be like, if I'm a pro and I know how to get to that pro level, so you should practice on these maps instead of just a map made by someone that doesn't even play the game competitively.
That's fair. That's actually really thoughtful to think about it, because not only are you thinking about making the money, but you're also thinking about helping people while doing it at the same time. Not many people have that mindset.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Whenever I try to tackle something, I always try to be the best at it. Let's say if it's Fortnite, I try to be the best Fortnite player. Or if let's say it's map creation or practice maps, I feel like all these practice maps I would hop into are just very subpar, and I just felt like they weren't really the product that I would want myself or other people to practice on. And so being able to sort of just elevate the maps have been doing pretty well for me. And right now I currently have a number 2 training Fortnite map inside of UEFN.
Oh, would you like to tell us more about that map?
Yeah, so that's going to be ranked aim at peace. So when it comes to the UEFN journey, I had a company called RHQ Creative, and I started that with my co-founder Sean, and we were able to grind out the map creation business for 2 years, and then when it came to last year, actually it's been a year totally. Here recently, as I'm getting pieced up right here real quick. No, I think I know. Dude, it's sometimes hard to talk. Okay. So to wrap back to my creative business, I actually ended up selling my creative business to Typical Gamer a year ago. Typical Gamer, again, is one of the biggest Fortnite creators and YouTube live streamers, YouTube creators in the space. But yeah, we have been able to make ranked aim at peace the number 2 practice map, and we're definitely shooting for that number 1. It just sometimes takes time, since some people have a lot more of a head start than I did when it came to creating maps in UEFN.
That's true. That's agreeable. Well, that's actually good to know. But moving on to my next question, right, is what made you want to start YouTube? Because if I recall, you have a YouTube channel out there where necessarily there was a point in time when you were uploading on kind of tips and tricks, then you mainly stream on YouTube too. So what made you want to start YouTube?
Yeah, so when it came to YouTube, I was always a streamer before a YouTuber. But one of the things that sucks about Twitch and these other streaming platforms is that when you record or stream something, it's gone after a month or 2 months on the VOD, right? So me being able to lose these key movements of my my memory is really a big loss. So I wanted to create videos that not only myself could look back on, but my viewers could look back on and be like, yo, I remember this in 2018 or this in 2019. So mainly overall it is tournament style, or helping, like I said, tying back to what I got into UEFN when it comes to helping players improve. I would give a lot of sort of in-depth IGL analysis when it comes to the gameplay.
I see. So like necessarily it would be like you stream just to like kind of like have the VODs for long-term analysis. Then to answer the question for doing the tips and tricks goes back to like IGLing basically, or like giving creators like a point of view basically of like what it's like to be like RichHomieQuinn in like this scenario or something.
Yeah, so the hardest thing when it comes to, and specifically Fortnite, is a player like my caliber doesn't necessarily get the highest amount of views, because I'm not like a Peter bot, I'm not like a fragger where I'm over here doing these crazy you know, clips on these players, because that's obviously what a lot of people care about watching the most. But I was able to get into more of a niche where I'm able to be a little bit more of a, you know, of a smart player. So not everyone could be a Peter bot, so I was able to, you know, relate with a lot of other people when it comes to that aspect of just being able to give them more in-depth analysis. And then again, I have all these placements, you know, I have over $120,000 earned when it comes to Fortnite, so it's like coming from me, it's sort of, there's some validity behind that. So it was a cool little aspect of being able to get into.
Well, that's impressive. Shoot. I feel like my next question would be like, I'm not gonna necessarily ask you questions based off of like being a YouTuber, but more like a YouTube streamer. So you being the YouTube streamer that you are, what's your greatest piece of YouTube advice you've ever received?
So it's sort of streaming on YouTube versus streaming on other platforms is kind of interesting, where your video, you know, gets published as a VOD afterwards. So it's really important to have that YouTuber energy or that YouTube vibe at the very start of your VOD, because you have that opportunity of your VOD, you know, getting pushed afterwards. And I think I saw a Moist Critical video when it came to YouTube streaming, and he was sort of comparing his YouTube streaming numbers versus Twitch streaming numbers, and how much revenue he was able to make on like a specific, it was like a Dark Souls sort of video that he was doing, and he was able to make like 10 times more on YouTube. And it wasn't, he actually made, you know, probably like 5 times less during the live stream on YouTube, but the VOD afterwards is really where, you know, you're able to have that passive income, because you don't have to be actively, you know, streaming to be able to get that money coming on in. So it's something that I definitely do recommend a lot of people. It's overall pretty hard to build a YouTube live stream community, I would say, compared to other platforms, just because that it's not really like appealed. Like YouTube is a video first, live streaming second platform. So yeah, it is a little bit hard, but fortunately, me playing a typical gamer who is the #1 YouTube live streamer for gaming, I'm able to get a lot of his core fans into my stream and interact with them, which is has been great for me.
Well, that's good to know. That's actually great, not gonna lie. I feel like from everything you had to say in regards to that, one question I have is, has your definition of a successful VOD changed over time?
Yeah, so overall, when it does come into streaming, like, I don't treat it as like a job as much as other people. Like, I sort of don't have too much of a structure, but there is a lot of like small fundamental things that I do. So just to give you like a full, you know, honest opinion, like when it comes to streaming isn't my main income. And I just like to enjoy streaming, since it's something that I've done for you know, so long. So I don't necessarily have the intent of going live and like getting crazy amount of viewers every single stream. I'm just doing it for the fun of it. But the most important thing is making sure to have unique thumbnail, interactive chat, and then having you know, just being on a consistent schedule, which is very similar to, like, let's say, like, you know, live streaming on like Twitch.
That's fair, that's fair. And then, like, I feel like something people would love to know is, what originally pulled you into streaming your content instead of just like playing these games for fun? Like, you say like you play Fortnite competitively, like what made you be like, all right guys, like I'm gonna start streaming my gameplay, as opposed to just playing the game, getting better at the game, and just like, you know, doing all of that?
Yeah, so the interesting thing there is that I only started streaming so when I was playing Fortnite, so I could show my friends my clips and be like, yo, look what I just hit in Fortnite, since I didn't have like a clipping software. So it actually just started from, you know, trying to, you know, get clips of me just playing Fortnite. And then it sort of, before Fortnite, I was a big Counter-Strike guy. So I've always had this competitive urge. I always loved sports and stuff like that. And I was able to live that competitive, you know, that competitive
dream.
Yeah, through esports, which is a really cool opportunity.
No, that's fair. Yikes, that guy just...
I did. Hey, he doesn't know what's going on right now. We're just over here chatting. We're just vibing for the most part.
That's fair, that's fair. But anyways, like, Do you remember the exact moment you realized that you wanted to be on YouTube?
Yeah, so when it comes to YouTube specifically, I've always gotten pushed from Typical Gamer, who's a really good mentor when it comes to, you know, content creation, and he was able to really push me to that next level. I think also during the time where I ended up switching over to YouTube, vertical streaming was really popular at the time. They were sort of trying to promote vertical streaming a little bit more. So being able to, you know, get motivated from a multiple sort of ways is what sort of motivated me. But I think the biggest thing is just like being able to have the PC to run it. I feel like for a little bit I didn't have the PC to stream on. I stream on TikTok also, so I do TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube, and I feel like that is a handicap that a lot of people, you know, face. And if they didn't have that issue when it comes to having the PC that can't run all that, then they would be doing it also.
That's fair. So if I recall, not even if I recall, like there's something I do remember you saying. You said that you like necessarily streaming isn't your main source of income. I don't want to butt in, but I will ask, like, when it comes to income, right? If you were to put your income in a pie chart of like, okay, let me give a kind of like vivid example. 40% comes from streaming, 10% comes from brand deals, this percent comes from X, and that percent comes from Y. Like, how would you put it?
I would say, like, honestly, my revenue now is probably like 10% from streaming. So yeah, the majority of my income now is outside of streaming. Like, I've had streaming months so where I was able to make like $15,000 and stuff like that, which was obviously like the peak of my streaming career. From just like not even doing IRL, just literally just sitting down playing Fortnite. But yeah, it's right now streaming is only 10% of my income. I would say.
Then do you mind sharing where the rest comes from or no?
Yeah, it's so like I said, when it comes to my UEFM apps, I have a salary position at Jogo, so I'm able to, you know, they treat me really well over there. And then I have other hustles, like for example, I do try to get some brand deals for creators. So that is another way that I make some extra income. And I'm always looking for other ways too. But yeah, I'm pretty busy when it comes to a lot of stuff.
Fair enough. That make money mindset. Gotta love it.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is that I'm 25 in the gaming industry, and I feel like a lot of people, especially in Fortnite, they sort of fizzle out a lot earlier than me. And it's because they don't sort of put a lot of their eggs in multiple baskets, and when they sort of stop, you know, getting viewers, or they stop placing well when it comes to Fortnite, they just, you know, they
just quit.
Yeah, they have to quit. They have to, you know, go back to whatever they were achieving before, or you know, striving towards. And I like the industry. I have so many connections. It makes, I'd be dumb to not take advantage of everything that has been, you know, fallen onto my lap.
That is true, but I feel like something everyone would like to say, right? You've been saying, like, throughout the podcast so far, you've talked about how you like to help people, and you also like just want to like show people like your POV and everything. So I want to know, what do you see yourself first? Like, do you see yourself as an entertainer, a builder, or like something in between?
Honestly, I just see myself as because I come from like a streaming area where streamers aren't necessarily entertainers, but they're more or less like relatable. Like, I think that's like the most important thing, is that like everything that I've done in my career, and it is something that everyone else can do, right? It's like, it's not like I'm like extremely, you know, talented or super lucky in like a certain aspect. Is that everything that I've done has just came from hard work. So being able to just like be super relatable to people, and just be, you know, try to be as humble as possible, is honestly what I see myself the most when it comes to that.
So I would say a bit like, if anything, I'm gonna like put you in the category of like somewhere in between, but more or less relatable.
Yeah.
That's more like the perfect answers to that. And then like, have you ever thought about taking like YouTube seriously? Like, maybe like when you start to see the success that you like necessarily, no, let me rephrase that. Have you ever thought about taking YouTube seriously eventually? Like, maybe when you start to see like the success that maybe your mentors has, like Typical Gamer, or like not even him, but like success that makes enough sense to you.
Yeah, it's something. It's something that I would 100% take advantage of if I needed to. It's just right now I don't need to. And streaming is sometimes a love-hate game. Like, to go back on like the entertainment purpose, like, okay, if I wanted to get 1,000 viewers, I could easily get an average of 1,000 viewers. It's just one of those things that there's a lot of negatives that do come with that when it comes to just like sometimes the community overall is just like gets a little bit, you know, washed out, and you get weirdos in the community and stuff like that. And I'd rather just have a super chill community with a lot less viewers and have that build organically versus like trying to like, you know, right now it's like a clip farm meta, and being able to,
yeah, that is true.
So that's like where I'm able to be like a Summit 1G or like a Shroud, where I'm just able to play games and just like talk to my community. That is like my overall #1 goal when it comes to content creation. But I 100% going back on that talking point of, yeah, I would take YouTube seriously if I needed to. It's just right now I don't need to, and that's not really where my passion stands as a content creator. Like I enjoy, you know, helping people get better. I don't enjoy, you know, necessarily like doing all the hard work when it comes to making a video like be a viral video. Like I'd rather it like
be a natural viral video.
Yeah, instead of just like structuring my video around it being viral, I'd rather it just naturally hit the viral stage. And another, you know, interesting thing when it does come to my Jogo position is actually I work with like 20+ small creators that post on like for example YouTube Shorts and TikTok and Instagram, and I sort of help mentor them and give them good leeway when it comes to like what makes good content. But I don't necessarily do it myself. So we have people that end up posting, promoting our, and so I have really good knowledge when it does come to the space, just because of all the stuff that I've experienced myself and stuff that I've seen from other creators that are around me. And so I do have a good eye when it comes to it. I just don't always execute on it.
That's fair. That's fair. That makes a lot of sense. But there's something I'm not confused about it, but I just want more clarity on it. You've been mentioning about your community. Like I feel like you have such a like tight and close community. Where do you have a name for your community already, or no?
Yeah, I call them the Rich Homies, you know, because my username's RichHomieQuinn, so it's like it's just like it's an easy one. It was a layup. So I did call them the Rich Homie, yeah.
And like the Rich Homies are like your loyal, like just loyal subscribers and followers, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like the people that are gonna be there, and you know, as much as they can to get that that role.
How long have you had the community for? Like, or when, like, how long has it been since like you came up with the name Rich Homie for your community? Then like you were like, all right guys, like this is your names, and like, you know, I really love the support. Like y'all have, like, I'm so happy y'all have been there like for me since the jump and everything. So how long has it been since you grew this community?
Probably since the start. You know, I remember, you know, I've always been a man to like play on words and stuff like that. So it's been there since the get-go. I haven't really switched and hopped around too much, just because it was a layup for sure when it comes to that. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's been a bunch of, you know, iterations that I've done to try to help my community. Like I've tried to start like a community or a team with Rich Homies, and basically just like support anyone on my team that, you know, also, or anyone that is a follower of mine and wants to create content. Like I try to support them by doing like reposting their Fortnite clips and all that stuff like that. So ended up not really working out, just because I ended up joining a lot of teams myself. For example, I've been in, you know, I was in Extra, Parallel, Apex, Limit, Livid, Zen. I was in so many teams as a, you know, comp Fortnite player, so I wasn't able to allocate all my time towards my community when it came to that aspect.
Oh, fair. That makes a lot of sense. Well, that's actually interesting. And to the Rich Homies out there, nice to meet you guys. And you guys have an amazing founder, if I must say so myself.
Oh yeah, no, my community has got to be one of the coolest communities. I mean, I guess that's just what happens when I was streaming since like 2019, 2018. I'm able to really build a really cool foundation with a bunch of cool people that come in year in and year out.
That's fair. Well, I feel like to switch topics, yeah, when it does, like going back to the streaming topic, when it comes to streaming on YouTube, do you like look at analytics per chance, or like do you just like stream and then get off and like not really like obsess over the analytics of like your stream? Like, let me say how many people were watching, or like what's the CTR of my thumbnail, since you did say like want to do like unique thumbnails and everything. Do you obsess over analytics or no?
So I am a very analytic obsessive person, but when it comes to streaming itself, I actually don't even see my live viewers. Like I hide all those because I don't want those to impact my vibe on my stream, especially since I'm just streaming to have fun. Like I'm not streaming to, you know, full on make it like a full career path. So I do hide those numbers. When it comes to looking at thumbnails, I look at thumbnails a lot when it comes to Fortnite map thumbnails, but overall when it comes to YouTube thumbnails, I don't honestly look at CTR that much when I probably should. But that's just because again, like I don't want it to feel like a job. But then again, it's like, okay, that's a little bit of a cop out for me. It's like just looking at thumbnails and seeing what works and what doesn't is like super easy. But I think overall it is really important to be able to analyze all that stuff and working on improving. And even if it is like overall like a 0.1% better CTR on a certain thumbnail, like that 0.1% matters a ton. And being able to continuously increase that CTR by 0.1 as the months go on is a really good route for everyone to take. If you guys are looking into that.
Well, y'all heard it from him himself. Like that is really true. Even the smallest amount of growth on YouTube means a lot analytically. But I did not know you were an analytical person. That makes me even want to ask like more questions on that. Like, what's your favorite analytic and why?
So when it comes to Fortnite maps, my favorite analytic would be I think playtime is a really fun analytic. I do like CTR. CTR is probably one of my favorites because you're able to see it pretty fast, I would say, on a change, and it's pretty drastic. But yeah, like I guess you could sort of like compare playtime versus like watch time, right? So how long someone is in like a Fortnite map could be very similar to how long someone's in a YouTube video for, and being able to add and expand on how can you make that playtime longer is really interesting to me. And there's a lot of key things that you're able to do to do that. Like, and it just comes back down to it. A lot of it's just trial and error. Like it's just like, okay, you switch one thing and then you focus on that one thing and seeing if it does have an impact, and if it doesn't, then you know you just go and try the next thing.
Just true. And that makes me want to add like, okay, so when it comes to map, or because I feel like I can necessarily bring this, like tie this back to YouTube when I ask this about like map creating, right? But what metric do you think predicts like long-term map growth?
So when it comes to map growth is day 1 and day 7 retention. So that's basically, okay, if this person played this map on this day, do they come back the next day and play it? I don't know if there is a YouTube analytic for that, but that is overall the most key analytic when it comes to having success in the ecosystem, because that means that your map is good and then people want to come back and return to play it again, right? So that is by far one of the most important metrics when it comes to a successful game.
Yeah, so when it comes to YouTube, yeah, that would necessarily be like unique viewers and like recurring viewers and things like that, like returning viewers too.
Yeah,
so
100%.
So YouTube does have that analytic, and that's interesting that you say that, because I feel like that's true, especially coming from you, that like you want to build a community. And I feel like once it comes to community building, that's actually the best way to kind of see like, okay, well, out of all my subscribers, all these viewers came back to watch me. Like they're part of the community now, I feel. Right?
Yeah. It does make a lot of sense, because a lot of the times even like when it comes to short form too, it's like the first 1,000 people that get shown the video really dictate if it ends up getting into like algorithm, right? Like, okay, if people don't click on your video, if people don't watch the video out fully, then you just end up getting hurt in those analytics the majority of the time. But being able to have those core people that support you and that actually do enjoy your content is really important for helping, you know, create like a domino effect of it being pushed out to a greater audience.
That's fair. So then I'll ask this in that regard. How important is, I need to restructure this for map creation. So that would be like, how important is playtime versus how many people actually play the map?
So they go hand in hand when it comes to those two things. So for example, if let's say I have 1 million players play my map, but they only play the map for 1 minute, then that would be the same as, let's say, having 200,000 people play the map for 5 minutes. So playtime is pretty important. Being able to, this is specifically when it comes to like the payout itself. So every minute that a player, you know, plays the game or is on, you know, is active in your game is more valuable than just a player joining the map and then leaving instantly, because you're basically making them stay on like the platform, and that's that's what Fortnite's trying to reward.
That's fair. That makes a lot of sense, to be fair. And what's one thing you've learned about your audience from data? And this can be both from YouTube and also from map creating.
I think one of the most interesting things is that people just like high energy, and like you just can't, like, you have to just be talking a lot, I swear, most of the times in order to keep people entertained, especially when it comes to the certain era where, you know, everyone is sort of brain rotted out. And so being able to really be super high quality and interactive with the community is extremely important for, you know, success nowadays, because if not, they can just go to another streamer that offers that. And I guess that sort of ties back to map creation a little bit. You know, if your game isn't super interactive and is boring at any times, then why would someone want to play your map over Steel or Brain Rot, which has, you know, a lot of those key fundamentals locked down already?
That's true. Oh yeah, that is actually true, because I feel like if I was like me as a casual, if I was hop on a game, or like, probably like hop on a game, play creative, or like, in Fortnite it would be play creative. Or in Roblox, Roblox is basically UEFN, like globally. But from speaking on Fortnite, it would be, let me say, there are 2 maps. One map is a 1v1 map, and all you have is just the 1v1 thingy and you spawning with the weapon. Then there's the other map where it's 1v1 too, but you have a whole plethora of weapons to choose from, and there's also a bunch of other things, fun things to do while 1v1ing. I feel like I would rather play that as opposed to playing the one where it's just like one simple thing, like it's not really interactive. Like the only thing I can interact with is like the 1v1 panel.
Exactly.
So that is true, coming from a casual perspective.
Yeah, it's just like you have to give a lot of options when it comes to the player, and specifically when it comes to creative maps.
I agree. And if you were to lose access to all your map creation analytics right now,
Yep.
how would you run your map how would you run UEFN if you were to do that?
Well, a lot of the times it is based off of my own enjoyment. Like when it comes to me being a map creator and a game designer, like I know a lot of the key fundamentals of what makes a game enjoyable, what makes it fun. Like I can run through the game. I feel like this is an issue that a lot of game developers have, is that they're really talented at making games, but they don't necessarily play the games. And so me having that knowledge inside Fortnite, again, it just reaps the benefits there. Again, it's like, okay, I know what I would want and what I would assume my audience would want, based off of, you know, years of experience and just overall, you know, trying out stuff. So yeah, I don't really need analytics when it comes to, you know, at least at the start. I know what makes a good fundamental game. The analytics just help me improve the game after the fact.
Fair enough. And what's like one analytic you do wish you understood earlier in your UEFN career that like it's like now you're like, dang, I wish I knew this earlier? Or during your career you were like, like if I had known this, bro, I would have been making so much.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting factors is that there's a lot of ways to get into Discover tabs. So like, let's say for example, like getting onto like YouTube front page, or like getting into, you know, Fortnite front page. So being able to understand those, I felt like would have reaped a lot more benefits at the very start. But a lot of the times when it comes to UEFN, there's a lot of luck, right? Like if your game does pop off, then sometimes it's lucky, sometimes you know, a YouTuber ends up playing your game or stuff like that. So I think overall, I think sort of figuring out how to get your map pushed out to the masses is a lot of the hardest issue first, right? So it's like, okay, I have a good map, I have a good fundamental. Now, how do I somehow get that advertised to a larger audience? And being able to find analytics that help that is going to be a key thing to aim for.
I see. That would actually make sense. Like now that I think about it a lot more, because it is true. There are, like for YouTube, there's also like multiple ways to like kind of get your video on trending. So it does make, to kind of sum it up, not gonna lie, it makes sense that map creating and like YouTube kind of go hand in hand together, because it's more like, I don't want to say it's the same thing, but having this conversation with you makes it sound like it's actually the same thing when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because the analytics, you can kind of compare analytics from map creating to actually like in YouTube. So makes me want to ask, in Jogo, not necessarily trying to like pry into like y'all's business structure, but when it does come to map creating over there, and like making videos to promote your maps, do you kind of like mix and match the analytics together to see like, okay, like this is this is how the analytic is doing on YouTube, and then you kind of match it with how the map is growing based off of the analytic?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Like when it comes to Jogo, we have like a team of like 24 super talented people right now. And we have like a marketing team with like some super talented people. So we're able to I guess the best thing is like typical gamer is like him being the owner. Like it sort of makes a lot of sense. Like he's one of the best YouTubers. He knows what works when it comes to a lot of these key fundamental analytics, and we're just able to reapply it on Fortnite maps, which we've already seen so much success from that. So it does go hand in hand, and having that extra knowledge does help when it comes to creating, you know, popular maps.
And that's fair enough. Shit. I feel like just from this conversation with you, I feel like I should also head into I cannot say that. Map making, yeah, that's the word.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's super competitive. But if it's something that you're motivated in, I definitely recommend it.
I feel like I'm gonna make like, cause it wouldn't necessarily be Fortnite though, cause Bloxy Studios is more or less like a Roblox. Like, yeah, we're trying to branch out to other things right now, but like necessarily it is still primarily Roblox. So I feel like the Roblox map making is also competitive, but I'll give props to UEFN too, because it's way harder to get a map popping off in Fortnite than it is in Roblox. Because in Roblox, it's more or less copy and paste. In Fortnite, it's like, if it's copy and paste, I feel like Fortnite doesn't push it. I might be wrong, but you let me know, like, is that true?
I think it just comes down to a player-based thing. Roblox has a lot of more players than Fortnite, so you're able to be like a mid-tier creator, or even a small creator, and still make, you know, a great living off of it, right? So being able to have the larger player base, which Roblox offers, is a lot more friendlier, and it makes it a lot more of a less risky sort of investment.
Oh, that's fair. But yeah, like I'm gonna get my company to do that a lot more, or like not do that more, but more or less like maybe we can see like as a possible source of revenue or something like that.
Yeah.
But shoot, the next question would have to be like, if there was anything you had to tell like aspiring map creators, what would it be?
Just not to give up. Like, I think that's the most important thing. Is like a lot of the first, you know, sort of like year is a learning experience. Like, I got to where I was, like I got scammed when it came to my first maps. Like I'd pay developers to create maps, and they would create like a broken map. A lot of it's just trial and error. It's like you learn so much from mistakes. Like, yeah, you wish that you didn't have to lose all the money doing so, but it pays off in the end. I think the most important thing is that you can't expect Fortnite map creation to be a thing where you're gonna become a millionaire in a matter of like, you know, 3 months. Like, it's like I didn't make barely any money. I made like $200 for like my first like 6 months, and then I was able to have like peaks where Loot Lake was saying like I was Loot Lake's like, or I guess Fortnite.gg has all like the map analytics. It said that like I made like $100,000 in like a December month. So yeah, it's pretty interesting when it comes to just being able to stick it out. And I feel like that's a lot of things in life. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of risk and a lot of time investment for it.
Agreed, because tying that down to like, I was also gonna add on to that, like, what's also another thing that you would like say like, oh yeah, like one thing you could tell a viewer right now that is aspiring to be a streamer too, I feel like that don't give up thing also applies to them, right? Because you might just load into Twitch or YouTube or whatever you're streaming on, stream, you see like only like 2-3 viewers, and like, oh, this is not gonna work out for me, I'm just gonna give up right now. I feel like it ties back to that too.
Yeah,
so
yeah, I think streaming is in a weird space, though. I would say like it's important that if you do want to become a streamer, guys, that you have to be doing multiple things. You have to be dual streaming on TikTok. You got to be dual streaming on YouTube. You got to be creating content creation, because right now in the current environment, there's so much, you know, competitiveness when it comes to it. So it's almost impossible to blow up as a streamer from just streaming itself, right? So making sure that you guys get your content creation elevated is very crucial.
So kind of like don't put all your eggs in one basket, and not only that, like be able to like multi-stream and like grow every platform or not just one.
Yeah,
is necessarily what it is.
Yeah, because who knows, you could easily just get banned on, you know, Twitch, or you get banned on YouTube, and there goes your full revenue stream, right? Like there's so much risk of being able to trust that a certain company is going to treat you well for the rest of your life. So thank you for
That
that.
is true, and I
Be
feel
diverse.
yeah, that is true, and I feel like one company would favor you a lot more than the other. Like, you can be like 500K on Twitch and only come to YouTube to be like 20K, or like you can have like 2 million subscribers on YouTube but only have like 50K on Twitch.
Yeah, it's very rare to be popular on super big on on like multiple platforms. Usually there's always going to be one platform that is like your bread and butter.
That is true, but next, like, do you think UEFN rewards playtime? I'm gonna act this in YouTube. Can you like help translate it into like UEFN? Like, do you think YouTube rewards watch time, satisfaction, or consistency more?
Like when it comes to comparing the two, like is that your question?
Yeah, like I want to ask that, but like in map making.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like on YouTube, it's a little bit different because like you're able to like place your ads at certain spots. So like you get to fill up a video with ads if you really want to. You can't really do that when it comes to Fortnite. So it's a little bit of a different pay revenue. But I guess one thing that does happen for UEFN is that like let's say like someone plays your map, then they back out and they go to the shop and they buy V-Bucks and they buy a skin. Like they also consider that when it comes to payouts. So sort of catering to those audiences that are also going to be spending V-Bucks is like is what Fortnite sees value. And so I guess that's a little bit similar to like putting like an ad placement inside a video. But I don't know if that really answers, but I want to say there's too much of a similarity between the two.
So I guess that question necessarily would be like in map making, like, does Fortnite reward playtime?
Yeah. Playtime's the #1 thing that they care about.
So like I want to say playtime, sure, but like what about consistency? Like, so they care about more about playtime as opposed to like consistency of people coming back to the map.
Correct. Yeah, because when it comes to, you got to sort of think it from like this aspect of the game. Fortnite wants players to be on their game, right? So if you are able to have a player on the game for 2 hours, then your value of getting a player, 10 different players on, like they value a lot of stuff. Like they also value, like, let's say like, okay, if someone downloads Fortnite for the first time and they go and instantly load up into your map, they value that because they sort of see that as like, oh, this person downloaded Fortnite maybe just to play this map, right? So there's a lot of weird niche analytics, but I think playtime is just like a very easy one because it a lot of the times does correlate to payouts really vanilla-y. So that's yeah. I don't know if I explained it the greatest there, but
yeah, I do get like the grasp of the concept. That is true. Like thinking of it from a business perspective, it is more or less like I'm thinking about numbers, or when I do say numbers, I mean like I'm more or less thinking about like how long are the people actually using my product for,
exactly,
as opposed to like how many people are using my product. If that makes any sense.
Exactly, because Fortnite's a free game, right? It's not like these people are, it would be different if it was Fortnite was $5, and then obviously that would be more valuable selling, the product to 10 people versus one person. Even, if those 10 people play it for 5 minutes versus the one person playing it for 2 hours, it's because of that. And it lives off microtransactions. So the more time a player is on the game, the higher chance that they get exposed to Fortnite skins, the higher chance that they want to go buy something in the shop, the higher chance that they, progress like a battle pass. And so it makes sense for them to be, buying a battle pass. Like there's a lot of like small niche things there that all add up to really get the answer for that.
That does sound like it. Yeah, because it puts it in perspective. So I agree. But what else would I say right now? Let me see. Cause I just had a question in my head.
Okay.
Oh yes, this is the perfect one. Like, what's one risk you took because the data supported it? So it could have been like, maybe when you were thinking about making this map, you were like, okay, well, I've not seen anybody do it this way, but like, I'm doing it like, okay, no, let me kind of put it into perspective. I'm doing it X, but a lot of people do it Y.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna implement this right now because I've done my research and this is how Y does it a lot. So why wouldn't people like it when I do it as X? And then you took that risk and like, did it reward you? Yeah.
So a lot of the times there's a lot of good, just because a map isn't doing well doesn't mean it's a bad map. So I'm able to I don't look at like the maps that just do well. Like I don't look at the maps that have 1,000 players. Like I go and do my research on maps that have 10 players, maps that have 100 players, and I go look at those. And to answer your question, there isn't really a direct answer that I do want to give to it, just because there's a lot of like niche things that I ended up finding that I don't really want to share, because it is nice to have a couple secrets up when it comes to
competitive. You gotta keep it competitive.
Exactly, right? But yeah, I think that's like the best way to say it, is that just because a map is doing well, doesn't mean that they couldn't be doing better. And being able to hop into other maps and at least just try them out, like give them a shot. A lot of the times, like probably every 19 out of 20 times, the map that I hop into, I'm like, oh, I get why this map doesn't have players. But then there is like some times where I load into that one map that has 0 players, and I'm like, dude, this is really cool in this map. Like I'm surprised it doesn't have more players because of this. And then I'm able to use that as an inspiration. I'm building up upon maybe a new thing that I added. I guess to also answer your question too, a lot of the times you don't really know if something's gonna do well. Like there's a very little amount of the times I can assume something's gonna do well before I end up doing the update, but you don't really know until afterwards. So a lot of the times it's reacting off of trying multiple things.
I feel like overall, with this podcast going on, I've been able to grasp necessarily, like you've been able to teach me a lot about like the mindset of what it takes to make a map, and like the risk, the reward. You can get scammed, that's the risk, and like that's a really big risk in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the reward is great, considering that like I've seen maps to be like an asset where cool, like I make a Fortnite map, it goes viral just because of the one. If you have one map go viral, isn't that like, I don't want to say infinite pay, but like it is somewhat infinite pay, right?
So it depends. I mean, so there's a thing called legacy maps. So these are maps that have been in the game that it's like even before UEFN created, and they just got instant crazy pop. So now they have like a bunch of people that favorited the map and are part of the community. Fortnite's sort of leaning out of the way where you have to be consistent with it. Like, yeah, like, okay, like let's say I make a super popular map, it does well. Like you still have to apply updates to the maps now. It's sort of phasing out of that era where you're able to just have a crazy map, get lucky, and then sort of just be chilling for life. But yeah, just applying updates is still something needed. But yeah, I think to sort of go back onto that risk part that you were talking about before, I had something that I wanted to bring up there. Yeah, one of the things I did want to bring up too is that being able to get a popular map in 2026 versus 2023 when UEFN came out is a lot different because of the player base. Like the player base is probably like half. So it's a lot less achievable, but it is still achievable. We see maps that end up getting super popular every single day that didn't have any backing behind it. So it's really interesting to sort of look more into, and I'm glad that you're able to be intrigued about it, because it's something that I always try to push towards people when it comes to map creation. It's great.
Like I feel like that answers a lot of my questions when it comes to map making, and like your mindset on what it would take and to make a map, plus like the risk and reward. That kind of, not even kind of, that honestly answers a lot of the questions that not only me but the viewers would have had to ask. But I feel like the last question would be necessarily for you as a person. What are some sacrifices you have to make to become a successful creator?
This is time. It's a lot of time sacrifice. Again, when it comes to being a successful creator, it's like I said, like you're not gonna be able to make money that you want to at the very start. One of those things that you have to evenly find a balance between everything. Like when I was becoming a Fortnite pro, like I was going to school, I was still going to college. I was able to balance, my content creation, my stream hours, while also, getting straight A's in college. So it's just, it's one of those things that if you want it to happen, you'll make it happen. But there's a lot of a time investment when it comes to it, and nothing's promised. So I highly recommend that if you want it to succeed, you have to sort of treat it as something that you really do enjoy, because a lot of the times people expect it to just be this free money grab, and it's not like that. So you do have to have passion in order for it to be successful, in my opinion.
I feel like everyone has said the same thing, like, cause in like all the other podcasts ask the same question, but It's always about balancing time, and that's really true. Like I feel like there's a lot of answers to that question, right? But I feel like the most, yeah, this makes a lot of sense answer is like balancing time. And like maybe I want to say that's a broad answer, but it does still encapsulate like the whole point. Like, okay guys, I had to stop doing this. I had to like maybe hanging out with friends, for example. Like I had to like prioritize sitting at home and making my content as opposed to like I'm gonna go do this. And let me see, there are some things that like would pop up and you'd be like, like, is it even worth doing this right now when I could just like make this map or like make this video or go on live, for example. Like I feel like communicating with my viewers at the moment, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the broad way of just saying like there's a time, like if you want to be successful, you more or less have to like have the mindset for it, and you have to like just cut the, can I say that? Shit. You look, you have to cut the bullshit. You have to cut the bullshit. That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, so I agree with that.
Yep.
But I feel like before we wrap this up, let's see, like, do you get this win? I wonder.
Yeah, I didn't realize I was playing on NA East this whole time and I'm NA West. I'm like, dude, why am I not performing to my standard? But I get the win
If you're at the top left right now, you're on like 60 ping. So yeah, shoot, 1v1, you got this.
Box up. See.
You guys should comment down below if you think RichHomieQuinn's gonna clutch this up. I don't know. Shoot, I believe in him. I believe in him. He's a pro player. Oh, crack.
When it comes down to these clutch situations, I usually pop out.
I've seen a couple.
Oh no, he's in here.
Oh wait.
No. No, I got slammed. I didn't know you could get in there. Oh no, man. All right, well, GG's. I appreciate having the conversation. Hope you guys did enjoy it too, and you guys learned something new about me and sort of my mindset. So appreciate you guys.
Yeah. And before we do finally round up, like, Quinn, do you have anything you'd like to say to the viewers?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I appreciate you guys making it to the end here, and if you guys do want to support me, feel free to search me up on all platforms, RichHomieQuinn. Yeah, just if you something that you guys are really passionate in, just try to improve each day by a small little percent, and it does pay off. So hard work always pays off, in my opinion.
All right, guys, thank you for making it to the end of this video. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment down below which Fortnite YouTuber you'd like to see next on the podcast, because we're starting to branch out. So anything will work. I'll catch you guys on the next one.